Okay guys, I'm going to do a quick video here on scanning, trying to locate whatever. First thing you want to do is come down here to your core probes and load it if it's not already loaded. Mine isn't. So you want to come down here, right click on it, and I use the sister core scanning probes. They say they're one of the best ones, especially for the low level guys like us. So you click on those. It says it takes about 10 seconds to load. While that's waiting, we'll go over here to the scanners and load up our probe scanners. And you can see that we've got two cosmic signatures in the area. So we don't know what those are. We're going to go find out. Hit our solar map. Now this is our map here, just so you'll know. The reason my screen split is you can set that up here. You can see it can go to the full screen if I wanted to go full screen or not. I don't know if I can get that damn thing back. So we'll just leave it there for now. Alright, so the way I do this is just to give you some heads up here. If you want to move the map around, which we're going to be doing a lot here, what you want to do is right click and hold it down, and then you can move the map wherever you want, and then if you left click, you can scan and or pan around, twist, whatever. Now this is the way we started. I like to look straight down on top of it when I first get started, and then I'm going to go for this one here. So we'll click on that. Nope, that's not. Try that again. So if you click over here, it'll, as you can see, it'll single out between the two different cosmic signatures. So I just pick one randomly. It doesn't matter which one. And the other thing we can do here is we're going to stick with just that one, so we can ignore all the other results that we get from this point on. So now no matter what we scan, that's the only thing we're going to see. Okay, so now that we got that set up, next thing we're going to do is launch your probes. Now you've got two different formations here. You got a spread formation and you've got a pinpoint formation. I'm told the pinpoint formation is the best to use, and actually that's what I've discovered. So go ahead and click on it. You can see our probes launch. That's the little blue bubbles. Now what you want to do is you want to get this X right smack dab in the middle of those bubbles, or that box. So just take this and drag it over the top there, and drag it over the top there, and kind of center that X up right in the middle. There we go. Now a couple things I like to do. You can see these arrows here, they're kind of running diagonally across the screen. I like to left click here and spin this thing around so that I can get them running straight up and down. So you can see there I've got straight up and down and then left and right. There's a reason for that. One of the other things you'll see is I've spun it around so that I can see the full face of this arrows when I pan down. Alright, so there we go. I'm centered up that way. I'm going to bring it down here, and the reason I was talking about that earlier is, let me zoom in. The way you zoom in is just the scroll on the mouse. Something I want to show you here. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Anyway, got that centered. As you're panning, so again, left click and pan up and down, you can see these dots right here kind of start to line up. Well, they also line up with these arrows. Those are the arrows I was talking about. If you pan and line up those dots with those arrows, you get a little more accurate on where the placement of that X is to go. So right there. So now we've got that thing centered up. Alright, since it's our first attempt And the reason I know it's our first attempt at a scan is because we've got this big red bubble here telling us where our cosmic signature is located. In other words, it's not outside, it's inside that bubble. Well, we're going to want to scan the entire bubble. Well, our probes don't do that right now. So what I do, I keep the, sorry about the cough, I keep the formation right where it's at. Which, by the way, that's the control key. If you hold the control key, you can move your probes in and out towards the center. What you want on your probes is you want them all to cross, every one of those probes to cross the center. As you can see here, I've got all the probes, you know, each individual probe is way out. None of them is crossing the center, which I call the center. It's also the box here. None of them are crossing this box except this one and maybe part of this one. So what you want to do is get the control key, bring it in until they all start to cross the center, and right about in there. Okay, so it doesn't matter which one this is. That one covers the center, this one covers, this one covers, this one covers, etc., etc., etc. The whole point is, what you don't want is to bring it all the way in. And granted, they all cover the center, but technically they're all sitting in the same spot, so you're not going to get a good bounce, a good echo. So scroll this back out, get all of these kind of crossing. And you want it kind of tight in here. It's not too tight that, like this one here, no longer covers that center. Well, I guess it does, but just barely. So you want it tight, but not too tight. So I go to about there. Now, as you can see, like I said, we're not covering the entire red half. So if you hold down the Alt key and then scroll out, now you can see, boy, did we cover it. Now granted, that's a little bit too big, but that's okay. That's where we're going to start. So now that we've got everything set up and we're covered, come over here to our Analyze button, click it, and our probes are searching. So this here should go up to maybe about 5 or 7%, somewhere in there. By the way, the better your skill, the better this goes. 9%. Alright. So now that we're at 9%, you can see that we've lost our big red bubble and we've come to a pinpoint. Well, that's significant. What we want to do now is, from this point on, we want to get our box, or we want to get that pinpoint in the center of our box. Now, as I said, I've lined up there, and I want to scroll. So remember, I get these dots here lined up with my arrows so that I know I'm really centered. And the last thing is I want to pan back up to the top and look over the top of it, and as you can see, I'm offline again. So I center that up. Alright, now that I've got that centered, our probes are still way out here. Well, we don't need them out there anymore. We've already covered that box and we're starting to come to a pinpoint, so we want to bring them in. The way you bring them in is you hit that Alt key again and you scroll in. But when you do this, only scroll in one time. So there's the one time. If you scroll in too far, like so, you're going to end up missing. Like if you scroll in, say this far, and it ends up that dot ends up over here, well, you're going to miss it with all your scans. So you don't want to scroll in too far at once. So that's where we were. We're going to scroll in one notch. Okay, and then come back over here, hit Analyze again, and we're just going to rinse and repeat until we pinpoint this so that we get 100%. Once you reach 100%, you'll get a warp 2 over here, so that you can actually warp to the site and go mine it or do whatever it is that you're capable of doing at that site. So again, here I've scanned it down, it moved the point over, I centered my box on that point, lined up my arrows, with my dots going across here, and I can actually do a little bit better job. There we go. And then again with the Alt key, bring them in a little bit more, just one notch. There we go. I'm going to zoom in so we can see a little bit better, and I like to put this in the center of my screen, so I'm going to right click and drag it over to the center, and we can go ahead and hit scan again. Now when you get to about 30 or 35%, I don't recall where, this will actually switch from a cosmic signature to what the site actually is. So I mean, if it's a combat site, I'm going to ignore it. Nah, there you go, combat site. Now generally I would ignore it because I'm not here for combat, I'm here for something else, but for demonstration purposes we're going to go ahead and single in on this thing so that you can see how to finish this off. So here we are, combat site. You can see that the color has changed from a red to a orange. It means we're getting closer, and my dot's down here now, so we're going to realign that dot. I'm going to go ahead and drag that dot back up to the center of my screen. I got my arrows and those little dots lined up there, so there we go. Pan back and center up over here. Kind of close enough, but and then again always bring them in. So now we should go up to about 70 or 80%, hopefully. I say you just keep doing this until you can get 100%. I have been stuck at before at even 100%, and it would not give me the warp 2, and I can't tell you what causes that, other than maybe it's just skill. I've moved probes and spent an hour, trying to pinpoint it, and it just didn't do a darn bit of good. So there you go. I got that one centered up again. We're going to bring them in one more time. We should get our 100% and our little thing that says warp 2. And we might have to do this one more time. And there we go. So we got our little warp 2 here. So if I wanted to actually go do some combat, I can just warp right to it. And that's all there is to it, guys. I hope it helps. But yeah, it's just a matter of rinse and repeat. Getting everything up in the center and aligned just right, and putting the dot in the middle of your box. Two directions. You take this whole 3D thing and you make it two-dimensional, and that's all it is. Good luck.